Hi guys, let me start install SQL Server 2005. Accept the licensing. It is verifying prerequisites. You can ignore it. Any pop-ups will come. Approximately, it will validate around 13 checks. Out of that, one check got throwing a warning. It has done out of 14 and out of 13, 12 has been success and one is warning, throwing warning. Again, I'm telling whatever the checks Microsoft has been done, whatever the checks Microsoft is done out of 13, check out 13 checks, all 13 has been successful except one warning. Okay, warnings you can ignore, no need to work. You can proceed installation, but failed means you need to stop. Don't install SQL Server. When you got system configuration failures and when you got failures, you need to start troubleshooting. If warnings, you can ignore it. My operating got success, then click to next. Yeah, name you need to mention, and after that company name, any name you can. So assume you are working for one organization for a lot of. Let me take HP company organization name need to mention. Okay, don't think if working or not. If you mention any name, no worry. Click on next, then instance. Yeah, then instance. This is very interesting. Instance, and what is instance? And when you go and search Google also, what is instance in SQL Server? Okay, go to Microsoft blog. Let me go for Microsoft only. Microsoft what telling? Okay, so when I open here and an instance of the database engine is copy of SQL Server .exe. Instance is nothing but copy of your SQL Server .exe executable that runs as a operating system service. Okay, and instance is a and an instance is a nothing but copy of SQL Server.exe. When I open task manager, already I shown you, right? Go to details, SQL Server.exe, SQL Server.exe, and SQL Server.exe. I have multiple instance in my laptop. Okay, in generic term, you can call it as instance is nothing but collection of memory structure and background process. Okay, a lot of background process and memory structure. Instance is a collection of databases. Basically, collection of databases is nothing but it's also you can call as a SQL server, SQL server.exe executable file. We have different definitions when you go for instance. If someone is asking what is instance, instance is nothing but collection of memory structure and background process which is running with SQL server.exe executable files. If you want to install any software on your laptop, okay, take VLC player and audio player, take MS Office. You can install only one time, right? You can only install only one time. MS Office also you can install one time, and VLC player also you can install only one time. But when you go for SQL Server, you can install 50 times in your laptop or in your desktop. You can install 50 times, but don't tell SQL Server 2005. In SQL Server 2005 50 times, and in SQL Server 2008 50 times, in SQL Server 2012 50 times. No sir, any version SQL Server that can be to 2019 or 2022, that can be to 2002 2022. Any version maximum you can install 50 times SQL instances in one laptop, in one desktop. That can be any version, can be any edition. You can install only 50 times in instance, one laptop and one desktop. So what's the main benefit of having so many instances? Means no, not wasting any resources. I don't want to waste on my resources. For example, I'm purchasing huge laptop with more cores. Like I'm having 32 core processor with 500 GB of RAM, 10 terabytes of storage capacity. But I have maintaining 1 GB of database. I'm having one SQL Server instance with one database with 1 GB of storage. Now in that scenario, you can go for multiple most Most of the time in real world, max to max, you can see two or three instance in one server. But mostly for one instance, one server, most of the time, or two instance in one server, because we can balance the resources as well, right? So we are spending more time on hardcore level cost. That is the thing. Now when you go to the instance, we have two instances. When you go to the instance, we have two instances. One is default instance, one is named instance. What is default instance? A default instance is nothing but your computer name. Default instance is nothing but you no need to provide any name for SQL server. Any name of SQL server, automatically SQL server get the name from the computer. Whatever your computer name will be your SQL name. Your SQL name also same, and only one default instance and one SQL server. When you installing SQL server, choosing default instance, automatically your SQL name will be your server name. Your SQL name, your computer name, both are same. When you go for named instance, so server name backward slash instance. Now we need to provide a instance name. Suppose I am providing UAT. This is my instance name. Okay. So when you want to connect named instance, you need to connect with the server name and backward slash instance name. When you want to connect to default instance, directly provide server name. You can authenticate to the SQL server. So any default instance, their default instance name will be SQL server in bracket. You will get MS SQL when you see MS SQL server, your point of view. This is my default instance. Apart from MS SQL server, if you seeing any names, then blindly you can think that is named instance. This is shortcut. Okay. Click on next. I'm going to mixed mode and SA password need to enter. Go on next and install. Setup has been filed. I told you right. My operating system is not compatible with SQL Server 2005. Yeah, it will got filed, right? Because due to the operating system is not compatible. Okay. When you go to search in Google SQL Server download right now 2019, go to Microsoft block and don't go for Azure. Download exe file, enter your details, company size, install. Download 64-bit edition. It is Evolution edition. Microsoft is providing every version for 180 days, and the Evolution edition is like similar to Enterprise edition. For practicing in students' purpose, Microsoft provided Evolution edition, sir. This is for 6 months license. Okay, 6 months, sir. After 6 months, you need to again uninstall the same setup, again install. You will get after again 6 months. You need to uninstall and again you need to install with the same setup file. You can use for lifelong. Just after 6 months, uninstall and install again. You will get it lifelong. Okay. Now what you need to do? Go and open. Don't go to basic and custom. Go to download media and don't select cap, select ISO and navigate where you need to download. It is downloaded. Whenever you are installing your SQL server, you need to validate whether your SQL server is compatible with Windows or not, and that depends occurs on your project. That depends on your project. Okay, when you go to your edition, and so 70% will be using standard edition, 20% will use the enterprise edition, and 10% will be use the express edition. Because cost, you want to save money also, right? So cost, you can go for 60% of your using standard edition, and 30% you're using enterprise edition, 10% you're using express edition. They won't have any reason, and they will upgrade. Assume you are hosting one application like medium application, like take WhatsApp, sir. Everybody can understand, and I need to make one application like WhatsApp, and like kind of WhatsApp, and you are not having more budget, and you don't have budget first, and you are supposed to start, and For that, they are going. They will make evaluation edition after 6 months. For 6 months, if I am getting some profits, I can upgrade to enterprise edition, right? I can upgrade to standard, right? It's later after 6 months, right? That is how your project and that is how your application will be think. Of course, based on your requirement, based on your budget, basically installation is just 5 minutes only. But everything needs to think about what is the minimum requirement. If you want to install SQL Server in real world, that's what your main agenda today. Installation anyone can do again, and but what is the minimum required? We cannot go and blindly install SQL Server. So what is minimum, and that's what we need to get in our session today. Installation is very easy. Troubleshooting is not easy. Try to understand the concept. My agenda is you need to understand concept. If someone is asking, can you install, please install SQL Server, you need to get certain information, right? What kind of version, which edition, which server, what are the components, what are the SQL components I need to install. All these are minimum requirements. Blindly don't go and install SQL Server, right? Like how I'm doing my laptop, and that is what today my agenda. And every SQL server and one server, one default instance, and 49 named instance we can install. Whenever you select the database engine, and you can select the database engine by default, you will get two services. Okay, one is SQL Server services, and SQL Server agent services. And what is service account exactly? Very important, very important is the service account. Every services, when you go to services.msc, we have lot many services, right? We have lot many services available in Windows Server. I'm having Bluetooth software, I'm having BitLocker software, I'm having antivirus software. Along with SQL Server also, I have SQL services also, and SQL Server I need to run, sir. You need to able to see, and local system. We have service accounts which I need to run it with the service account. We are able to see local system, and local service and network service. See, almost your Windows related service running with three accounts, either local system or local service, network service. By default, when you install operating system, these are our three local accounts, and three accounts will be created. Either your Windows, whatever the Windows features in Windows services, either they can run any one of the local service, and any one of the local system, and local service, and network service. These are the default accounts will be created when you installing SQL Server. When you installed the Windows operating system, and when you are installing your Windows operating system, this default service account will get it. These all are Windows related service account. When I'm installing SQL Server, I'm getting two services, right? I'm having two services now. Tell me which account, and which account I need to use the SQL service. Either I need to use local system, or I need to use local service. Either I need to use network service. Which account to run my SQL server? Very important concept. Whenever I am installing the SQL server, which account I need to run? My service account is very important. My service account very important. But never SQL server prepare the local service to run the SQL server in real world. We never encourage, whenever prepare to run the local accounts with local accounts and local service and networks of accounts. We never encourage a SQL server to run with local accounts, having some restrictions, and having some limitations. We never encourage any one of the local accounts in SQL server. And then concept will call the concept came up with Microsoft service account. So what account I need to use to run my service account? And nothing but in service, whenever you can see two only SQL server. In my SQL server, in Microsoft telling don't use local system. Only two services are compatible, that local system and network services. Local system and network service. Windows accounts they having some unique features, but only that VM level. That VM level having certain sir. It is again code Windows level. Don't go for core Windows level. When we never encourage the SQL server to run local and Windows accounts. We'll always increase with the service account, and so on which account I need to run SQL server service. I need to run SQL server services. So mostly in real world also when you go to request and build a new servers. Mostly in the real world also whenever you got request to build a new server, my SQL server is part of which domain, and my service account is also should be part of same domain and same server. Server service account also should be any my server. My service account is also should be any service account, nothing but login. Don't get confused. Service account nothing but login. That login using only to run the SQL services. So that is why we are calling service account. Don't get confused. Your service account is just a login, but technically we are using that login only to run the service. That's why we are calling it is service account. Some SQL only for SQL to run, start, perform certain activities. We use that service only. The service, we never use the services anywhere. Every instance will maintain the unique service account. Here I am maintaining my service account, right? So whenever you got the new installation request, and what you need to do first, you need to write a service account request, because it will take some time, right? So most of the time real world SQL server, for SQL server, SQL services and SQL agent services will use the same account mostly. Mostly for SQL server and SQL server agent will use the same account. You may use different account as well. This is this is default. Whenever installing SQL server, will get it default service account. Okay, and will follow the in my organization like same. Whenever you are entering into a new project, will get some information. This information, what the service account you are using in, how to raise the service request, what are the standards we need to follow, and your project whenever you will get a new project hierarchy, it will be changed, right? Make sure clear about service account, right? That's what I need to show today. Tomorrow I will come up with some installation. Now we have downloaded 2019, right? And how to install SQL Server 2019 I can show you. And one more setup also we can install 2016. Also I will show you people how to install SQL Server. Thank you.